You go out to take pictures and it's all dark and gray and dreary outside. What do you do? Hey, thanks for joining me. You know, it's you can tell from the background here, it's one of those gray days out. It's just socked in with clouds. And so you have some time, you want to go out and shoot some pictures, and you go outside and you're like, wow, it's just gray. What do I do? You know, but you shouldn't let that deter you because you can make some of the most amazing images on gray days. And so don't let it slow you down. You know, in Oklahoma, especially in the wintertime, these kind of days are not too uncommon. And I know in other parts of the world there are whole seasons where it's just kind of gray and dreary. So, you know, you can't really exclude gray and dreary days from your photography efforts. Otherwise, you just cut out a lot of time that you could be shooting pictures. So I want to talk about some ideas that'll help you. But first, I think we have to talk about qualifying the gray. There are shades of gray. So when we talk about a gray day, I kind of classify them in three different ways. And first, there's a day kind of like today. It's just gray. It's just solid gray. There's nothing interesting about the sky. It's just gray. And those are probably maybe for me the most common gray days. But that's the first type. The second type to me is gray days that have some texture in the clouds and you can see form and shape in the clouds and they're interesting. And those kind of days I really love because you can make some amazing images by, you know, using those clouds to your advantage. And then there's those dark and gloomy days like it looks like it's just about to storm and it's really, you know, dark out and kind of it creates a mood or an emotion that's really amazing. And so there are three different days, types of cloudiness that I kind of look for. This one, like we have today, this kind of just solid gray, is kind of my least favorite, but it's still a great opportunity to take pictures. So let's talk about 5 ideas I have on what to do when it's all gray outside. So the first idea I have is when it's gray like today, is just to simply exclude the sky, exclude the gray as much as you can from the images. So use longer focal length lenses to get in tight on your subject or get close to your subject so that you're not including a lot of sky in the image. And that's the first thing you can do. This allows you to take advantage of the soft lighting. It's a great time for portraits if you want to do portraiture outside. This kind of lighting really softens skin tones and kind of erases wrinkles, and it's a great light for portraiture. So that's the first idea, is get in tight to your subject, get in close, exclude the sky, and take advantage of the soft lighting. Idea number 2 is to include the clouds. So if you have one of those days where the sky has got lots of texture and you can see form and shape in the clouds and there's darks and highlights and you know the cloud has a lot of interesting character, then you want to include it. This is a great time for landscape photography, for shooting buildings, for shooting cityscapes, for shooting anything that you can that would include the sky. It's a great time for that. So you want to make sure you, in your post-processing, or you can do it in camera, make sure you boost your contrast to make those clouds really, the texture of the clouds really show up, the form and the shape. And kind of like you use, you know, interesting bokeh in a background to make an interesting picture, these clouds become your bokeh. They become the interesting background that adds character to your image. So that's the second idea, is to include the clouds when they're interesting. Okay, idea number 3, and this is one I really like, is find colorful subjects and take advantage of the saturated colors you get on a cloudy day. So on a day like today when it's gray, things that have color tend to really pop. And you might even need to boost your saturation a little bit in post-processing, but you can make images on a gray day like this where colorful things really just kind of jump out at you. Also, don't forget that rusty things, old rusty things, the rusty color really tends to jump out on a day like today. So you've seen a video I did previously about patina. about things that are old and rusty, this is a great time to make those things really look great. And especially if it has rained and those rusty surfaces are wet, then they look really amazing. So look for saturated colors. If it's springtime and it's cloudy, this is a good time to do flowers, because you get those good soft, that soft lighting and those deep saturated colors. That's a great time for that. So look for subjects that have lots of, bright colors, saturated colors that you can take advantage of. Don't be afraid to boost those saturation on those colors a little bit in post-processing. Idea number 4 is macro. I love macro this time of year, or when it's gray out. It is one of my favorite times. The lighting is soft and even, and there's no shadows to hide detail. You can get just some amazing macro images when it's cloudy. So anytime it's cloudy like this and I have an opportunity, I like to get out, get a macro lens, and get in close, and even if you're not shooting true macro, just shooting up close, things like flowers and things like that. Again, taking advantage of the saturated colors, but getting in close, this is a great time. And again, especially if it's rained, you get those raindrops and the moisture. I have some images you're seeing here where not only had it dewed real heavily, but then it had frozen. And so the dew was actually frozen as frost on the subject. So macro, it's one of my favorite times. Again, you're taking advantage of the soft lighting and the saturated colors to make just some amazing macro images. So when it's cloudy out, take advantage of that, get out and shoot some macro. Idea number 5 is on cloudy and dark, dreary days, especially those days that are like really dark and gloomy, it's a great time to create images that evoke an emotion, that have a mood to them, that they're moody and they're dark. And, if you're really creative, think about the poet Edgar Allan Poe and that kind of dark imagery. You can create some just amazing images on a day that's cloudy or gray in terms of creating images that have emotion. And so, think about subjects when it's gray out that you could photograph that would transmit that sense of emotion, moodiness, that darkness, to your viewer. So this is a great time to take advantage of a time when you can create images with that kind of emotion. When it's bright and sunny out, it's kind of hard to make images that have a sense of darkness or foreboding or about them. It's much easier when it's cloudy out. So that's idea number 5, images that evoke a sense of dark emotion. Okay, that's my 5 ideas, but I have one extra tip I want to kind of clue you in on. When it's cloudy like this, sometimes early in the morning before the clouds move in, or sometimes in the evening as the clouds start to break up, you can get some of the most amazing sunrises and sunsets. Now, for the next couple of days here, it's just going to be gray. But somewhere at the end of that, the clouds will start to break up and start to move out, and the possibility of an amazing sunrise or sunset is always a possibility. The most amazing sunsets and sunrises are those that include some clouds. A sunrise or sunset with no clouds is a little boring. So really watch when it's cloudy out. See what happens on those sunsets. And be ready if the clouds start to break up when that sun's going down or coming up to be ready to get out there and capture some amazing images. So watch for those amazing sunrises and sunsets that can happen as the clouds move in or move out. Anyway, that's my ideas. I hope some of that's helpful to you, and I hope you enjoyed, got some ideas from some of these images. If you have any thoughts or questions, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you. And as always, thanks for watching.